Welcome to 10 Forward. Please have a seat. Madam Guinan will be with you shortly to take your order. We hope you enjoy tonight's show. Peace and long life to everyone. Hello, everybody. We are. Oh, take your order. We hope you. Oh, well, we just had a little error there. It turned out my other computer here was going to decide to repeat myself.
Hey,
So,
at
but
least you loaded us into the stream. You didn't forget to load us into the stream like somebody else does.
Yeah, that is true. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to NB Geeks Let's Talk 10 Forward Roundtable. This is where we get together, we sit back, we relax, and we talk about something fun. And my special guest today is a man. I'm gonna, before I even get into that, we got some great news we've had this week, and I would be remiss if I was not bringing it up. My guest over here, Stone Loki, not only surpassed himself 1,000 subs, he is now monetized. So, props to you, buddy. So happy
Thank you,
for you.
brother. Thank you, brother.
Also, this week, another person in this community, is it Lady Gravestone? I believe is right.
Ma- Lady Gravemaster.
Lady Gravemaster, she hit over 1,000. And then we just recently learned that Purple Valkyrie and Samantha Joe, two wonderful, wonderful ladies, have crossed over 650. So, all in all, I'm calling this one hell of a good week. Loki, I'm sure you would agree that this has been a great week for a lot of people in our community.
Absolutely, absolutely wonderful week. We have kicked ass and taken names, and they say glorious bleeding. Well, I say glorious bleeding, except in Valhalla.
Well, there was that scene on this, may not be the greatest movie ever, but I do love that scene in Troy when he goes, "Immortality, take it, it's yours." I'm like, that was actually a pretty damn good line.
Yes, yes, it was.
Welcome everybody also who's in the chat. We got Purple Valkyrie, we have Larry, we have Colin P. Smith. Thank you all for coming. It has been a wonderful week for everyone. And we're doing something a little different here on my channel. We're going to talk a video game. We're going to talk the Ghost of Tsushima. I thought, and I love the idea of having Stone Loki here because I'm not a gamer. Stone Loki is a gamer, and I'm going to thoroughly enjoy us talking about this from those two sides of how we think about games. So, with that being said, Stone Loki, my getting on to Ghost of Tsushima, uh, on a rare occasion, I actually went to one of your streaming times when you were playing a video game. I just don't do that very often. My son does, but it's not really my thing. But I happened to get on there. You were playing this game. You were really hyping it up, and I'm like, okay, let me give it a shot. And as you know, I started DMing you, and I'm like, this game is so good. This game is awesome. I'm like,
Yes.
I'm hitting you up constantly. I'm like, this game is awesome. I'm asking you questions. And and by the time I finished the game, I think I told you or said something similar to that, where I was like, this is probably the best game I'm gonna play throughout 2020.
It
And with
is.
that, I'm gonna end there. Loki, give me your thoughts, buddy.
This game comes out and hits you right in the face with brutal Japan. The daimyos are going to war against the Mongols. The Mongols have entered the island of Tsushima and are going to try and take over. These are battles that happened. These are battles that went down in history as some of the most epic battles in Japanese history. And they did not, they drew no quarter on the enemy. They fought with everything they had. And one of the big reasons why they were able to succeed was the Mongols were hit with a storm right before they landed. And a large portion of their fleet was destroyed. If that had not happened, we could have a very different history on our hands. So when you're playing this game, like I said, it hits you in the face with Japanese history, but it also gives you the wonderful ability to play as a samurai lord and explore the Japanese island of Tsushima, explore the Japanese mainland. It does not hold back in what it gives you, and the more you play, the greater you become. Of course, you become the ghost, as you know, Jesse. You become the ghost of Tsushima.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. So, your overall in your rating as a gamer, what rating would you give this in the 0 to 10 bracket?
Oh, it's a fucking 10. There's no question. This game is a 10. They they continued to work on it. It's polished. It is beautiful. It is the sounds are wonderful. The audio is wonderful. The gameplay is wonderful. There are no negatives in this game. Once some people have been like, well, I can't get past this stealth part, or I can't get past this. Eventually, as you're playing, you grow stronger. Obviously, that's what most
Hmm.
games are about, is you growing stronger. You will learn techniques, you will learn abilities, you will learn how to become more stealthy. You will get bonuses, you will get charms to help you. You will increase the effectiveness of your weapons, your armor, your secret weapons, your ninja weapons. Everything in this game increases in size as it goes along. So it builds. It may start with the whisper of having to go stealthily through a village, but it ends in a crescendo of violence and blood and history.
Yeah, if I was going to give this game, Loki, as a non-gamer, I'm going to have to give it a 10. After playing it, it's one of the few games I will sit back and say, I will play this again and again. I'll find new ways to just have fun with it. And it just, for me, yeah, I'm going to give the game a 10. I think it should win Game of the Year. I honestly think. I don't think there's going to be a game that's going to top it. Now,
There's
does
going to
that
be a
mean it's going to
fight.
win it? Probably not, because I don't think it checked all those stupid SJW boxes.
Well, there's going to be a fight. There's going to be a fight this year before the year's out between Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us Part 2. And I don't want to talk about The Last of Us Part 2 because everybody has and everybody knows what giant dumpster fire it was. But that's what the fight's going to be. Is it's going to be and yes, Final Fantasy VII Remake is in there, but Ghost of Tsushima completely left Final Fantasy VII Remake in its shadow. Final Fantasy VII Remake got an 8 from me. It is that good. It is a really good game, but Ghost completely blew it away.
Also, in the chat, Erisa Chaos, welcome, lady. We will definitely be seeing you later on your stream. Project Storytime, welcome too. So, Loki, when we're going into this, I sent you a list of topics I wanted to kind of cover. Uh, if you want to add anything extra to it later, that's totally great. But I think I definitely want to go ahead. We could say the graphics. That's a given. The graphics are just unbelievably gorgeous. I was watching it. I'm like, man, I can see my reflection in the water. I can see the blades of grass moving, way the wind is moving. It's shifting with the wind.
Yeah.
The the characters look gorgeous. But if I'm going to pick of anything, that's the easy one. I really want to get into the first thing is the awesome epic story. You start out as the broken samurai, and eventually you evolve to become the ghost. And this story is, in my mind, just abso-freaking-lutely a tragic story. This is kind of in a way, and I don't know Japanese cultural history like I know you do, Stone Loki, but it kind of gave me a little bit of what I was very fond of, and that's kind of a Greek mythology storyline to it, where, in Greek mythology, your hero doesn't always get a happy ending. In fact,
No.
more often than not, they don't. And in this story, there's the morality of questions, the how far do you take your honor? Is your honor worth the sacrifice? And how much of as your character is struggling with this stuff and meeting different characters who have varying different opinions. And we'll get into the characters later. But I mean, overall storyline, his rise from his fall as the broken samurai to the Ghost of Tsushima is an epic story that just, I mean, going through the storylines, you want to play the side missions. You want to know the characters that you want to know the stories of these characters. To where in most games I've played in the past, side missions always feel more like an obligation to make your character get stronger. I didn't feel obligated. I felt a desire to actually want to do this because I wanted to know every character that was coming up.
Yeah, and you want all those swords, you want all the sword accessories. You
Mm.
want it's not just the power ups. It isn't. You want everything. You want to see everything. You want to do everything. You want to play through everything. Yeah, sure, you could be running around collecting those hot baths and increasing your health, but it's not just that. You want all the accessories, you want all the hats, you want all the clothes, you want everything in this game you want more of. And they give it to you over and over and over again. They keep giving you what you want, and you'll find yourself, okay, well, I've got this one outfit I really like, and holy shit, I can make it white and black, and now I need a white and black accessory for my sword. And it's not just I want to be more powerful. It's I want to look the part. I want to look like a damn wandering Ronin. I want to look like a wandering Ronin. I want to look like a samurai. I want my own house colors. I want, I want. And thankfully, the guys at Sucker Punch realized you would want to do this and were like, let's throw everything and the kitchen sink at this game.
Yeah, hands down, I would agree. One of the things you brought up, what I thought was interesting, is the equipment, the gear. I really felt that it had a what I like a less is more vibe. Whereas, yes, you can get those beautiful suits. Yes, we can dye them and customize hats. And trust me, I did that. But one of the things I really enjoyed about this game is I get my half bow, I get my long bow, I have my sword, and I believe the other thing is called a shanto. You can
Shoto,
correct
yeah.
shoto. Thank you. And then you get a certain different set of weapons as you're going through. But as you're playing the game, of course, your ghost weapons is really what you start enhancing. But you have the sword, you have the shoto, you have your bows. You're trying to obviously make them stronger, more powerful as you're going through. But one of the things I thought was nice was I didn't feel obligated like you have to do in some games where it's like, well, you got to go get this sword, you got to go get that dagger, you got to go get this, you got to go get that. And you're kind of like, oh God, I got to get another freaking sword. I got to go all the way over here just to get these pieces just to make a sword, just because I need it for this. And I just kind of enjoyed the less is more aspect of it.
Yeah.
And but yes, you said you liked the Ronin outfit. I think I really enjoyed the Clan Samurai outfit and how I was able to customize it. I went more for the yellow gold kind of colors.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can do it. I did like his family armor. I
Yes.
really liked his family armor. The helmet, of course, the helmet has horns. So of course I'm gonna be like, holy shit, you've got a helmet with horns. I must have it. Um, and that
Yeah.
of course is his father's armor.
Yes, and that kind of became my signature helmet once I got it. I almost never changed it after that.
Yeah, I like this. I like the straw hats. I really do. It gives it that Big Trouble in Little China feel. I really like the straw hats. When you first meet the straw hat Ronin, I was like, holy shit, this is gonna be like my clan, my guild, my buddies, and that's not exactly how that turns out, is it?
No, it's not. But like I said, when you think about and another thing about it is your gear is you never really get bogged down with having to worry about, oh, I got to pack gear here, I got to pack gear there. You're limited on the amount you can carry. As you increase in time, you can get a little bit more. But then you also, of course, you go through, you can pick off, some weapons and equipment from the dead cons or the dead Ronins or the bandits.
Well, it makes them more important. I love the kunai. I loved the kunai. I loved using the kunai and the sticky bombs. It makes you think more strategically. I've only got 3 or 4 of these. I've got to make them count. So when you're fighting and you have a large group, yes, you could go one on one with each one, but they're going to swarm you and attack you. So the best one of the best things to do, in my opinion, was to play hit and run.
Yes.
I would throw kunai, jump back, throw a sticky bomb, be switching between my special weapons. That way, it's a very hit and fade tactic until I've got 2 or 3 of them, and then go straight with the sword.
Yeah, I actually I agree. The Kanai was definitely one of my favorites. I ended up using a lot more smoke bombs than I did sticky bombs at times, but I did a lot of what you were doing. I would jump here, I'd roll here, I'd figure out where that stupid archer is, and then I'd go run up and slice him down so I can focus on the melee guys. Because I found very early on, I'll be like, oh yeah, let me take, and then I'll be getting shot by like 3, 4 arrows, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting tired of this guy.
Yep.
So, whew, anything else you want to add about that part of it? The gear, the equipment?
You've got a wide variety of things you can use to implement blood and mayhem in this game. And I Sucker Punch did an outstanding job giving you options, and it's one of the highlights of the game. And the fact that you have to use it strategically is important. You can't just spam the hit button and expect to survive in this.
No, absolutely not. And I learned that real quick, very beginning of the game. I think when I first played it, I think the first time I died probably half a dozen times. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And I start realizing, okay, I can't just go up to these guys and start trying because, yeah, you're right. They do something that a lot of games don't do, or maybe they're starting to realize that, is it used to be a lot of times you'd have a one-on-one fight and then the next guy would come in. No, these folks, if there's 5 of these guys, they are going to swarm you. They are going to get in a circle. They're going to come at you. And if you do not strategize what you're about to do, they're going to kill you.
Yep.
And they don't just come with swords and stuff. They have their own little special things they can do. They'll throw bombs at you. They'll throw knives at you. They'll pull out a flaming sword at you, for crying out loud. They'll shoot fire arrows at you. You really have to think about what you're going to do as you're doing it. And then, if you don't mind me transitioning into this one, Loki, the stances. As you
Yes.
progress in the stances, I think that had to be my absolute favorite thing in the game was the different stances, and they all served a purpose.
That's right. I did pretty much the first quarter of the game. I stayed in the water stance because it is a very easy stance to use. But once you progress past that first part of the game, you really have to start investing in the skills and nuances of the other stances. That way you can fight the enemies that are coming at you. Because if you don't do that, and you want to rely on your sword at any point in the game, you have to, it's almost a rock, paper, scissors mentality. If you've got a guy with one sword coming at you, you have to use a certain stance. If you've got a guy with a sword and the shield, if you've got a guy with a spear, if you've got a brawler, there are specific stances to deal with each situation, and learning how to change on the fly in the middle of a fight. Once you do that, you completely up your game. It's not just fight, 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 kill, kill, kill. It's I have now almost ascended to a new level of playing this game because I've learned how to switch stances mid-battle and the importance of that.
Yeah, hands down, I would agree. That is one of the most important things you start learning in this game. And I think I was in the same position you were for a lot of the game early on. I used the water stance. It was a great stance, and you ran into a lot of guys who had shields. So each stance, of course, has a specific function. Stone stance is considered more for sword on sword. You get to wind stance, it's going up against guys with shields. No, water stance, you go up
Water.
against guys with
Yep.
shields. Wind, you're going up against guys with bows, and I'm drawing a blank on the last one.
It's the one where you fight the
The brawlers.
yeah, the brawlers.
I just can't think of the name of that stance now
And
for some reason.
those are big, beefy Mongolians with giant clubs that try and kill you. And eventually those clubs turn into guns too. I was blown away by that.
Oh yeah, where you get shot by the gun. Yeah, that threw me for a loop. I was like, wait a minute, we got guns in this thing?
Yep.
I was like, did I miss something? But but as you say, going through and learning how to do this mid-fight, you're sitting there, and I mean, I'll tell you what, if you play this game and you start really upping your stances and you start learning them and you start really getting your bearings with it, and you start visually, you're like, okay, I just hit this guy, I'm in stone stance. Oh, this is a brawler, I'm switching to this stance. Oh, I got a guy with a pike, I'm going to switch to wind stance. And you really find as you progress through this game, you start as a player, as the player of the game, getting much better. You're switching between stances, you're switching between your ghost weapons, your I didn't really do too many transitions with the arrows, but you're throwing bombs, you're hitting people with flaming swords, and you see a guy and you're like, "Oh, I see what weapon he has," and then just you'll start muscle memory switching. Hey, Mountains of Elysium, Psycho Dwarf 9, thank you guys for coming in. Always happy to have you. And you find yourself switching between, and you start muscle memory. You're like, oh, you don't even think about it when you're changing stances. You're just doing it.
Yep.
And it's just an absolute fantastic
And
fight scenario.
if you don't, the game will remind you, hey, you need to be switching stances. Don't forget to switch stances, but only if you're not doing it. It's like, hey, don't forget, you can switch stances when you fight this certain enemy if you go into a fight using the wrong stance. The game will remind you, and you can turn that off if you want to. I eventually turned it off. I was like, damn it, I know, and I'll use what I want when I want. Quit bugging me. You can turn that off so you're not annoyed by it.
Yeah, and if you get good at it, you don't need it on. There's other special abilities that you get throughout this game. I think one of my favorites was when I finally figured it out, and it took me a while to figure it out afterwards, is when you get this point in this game where you have an option, you go up to the enemy and you have a standoff, and
Yes.
you can get good enough to where you can actually assassinate, not assassinate, that's a different skill that comes later. You can actually, if you do it right, you can get skilled enough to kill 3 people with just one swipe.
It's like the old in the old westerns when you would have a gun duel,
Hmm.
pistols at dawn. That's what it pretty much is. You challenge them, you walk up, you prepare yourself, and if the enemy goes to strike you, as soon as they do, you let off the triangle button, and you will do a death move and slice them and kill them in one move. And the more you progress in this skill, the more people you can do this with. So after the first one tries to kill you and you take him down, another one will run at you. And as soon as he raises up his weapon, you can hit the strike button and do it again and again on the third. If you make a mistake,
You will pay for it.
you will pay for it. If you strike first, you will almost be dead if they get you. So the only way you can go is either use it or don't. Use
And
it or don't.
oh, sorry, Loki.
No, go ahead.
And as you play the game, they get better at their standoffs. They'll
Yeah.
try and psych you. There's parts in there they will try to psych you out, and I'm falling for it. And I'm sorry to say, you're gonna fall for it a few times, and you're gonna
Yep.
pay for it.
Yes, you are. Yeah, if they will try and psych you out and make you flinch, and when they do and they get you, it's bad. So either strike or don't.
And then there's the, other skills you get throughout the game. I know you said you weren't big on the assassination stuff, and I totally get that. But there was a when I could throw a smoke bomb and do a 3-point assassination, stabbing three people at once and getting
Oh
rid
yeah.
of them. I was like, that's cool.
Yes, yes. I grew into the assassination part, and you do that, and it's funny that the character is growing into that as well. This is a dishonorable tactic. This is something you're not supposed to do, and as you progress as a character, you learn this is war. There are things you're going to have to do. Holding back in that way is not isn't going to get the job done. There are things you're going to have to do because it's war.
Absolutely. And as you're progressing with the character, and I think Stone Loki, you brought up a good point to transition into talking about the character of Jin, and then the characters you evolve yourself with throughout the story, because some of these folks are telling you got like Mitz, and I'm gonna butcher her name, the thief.
Yes.
She's trying, you're meeting her, and she's like, "Hey, you're gonna have to do some tactics here to, to survive." And then you have this bond relationship with Yuna, who she saved your life, and then you have your old sensei, and then of course there's your uncle, and then of course there's the Khan. And as you're playing this game and you do this is why I said I wanted to play the side missions. I wanted to know their story. And as you're going through and playing this game, these stories are not happy. They are painful,
Yeah.
painful stories. And I felt the characters felt so real and the story was so in depth that I was just like, the characters grabbed me. And I was like, I almost felt like I was watching a movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. They did a beautiful job with the characters and the people you meet. They did a beautiful job on not just your friends, but your enemies as well. Like you said, the Khan and the Straw Hats.
Oh
It,
yeah, his old friend.
yes, his old friend that he grew
Was
up
it
with.
Rion?
It was Rajan. Was it Rajan?
I think it was. Yeah, Ryuzo.
Yeah.
But and you have the
Rizu. Yeah.
Rizu, yes, Rizu. And then of course the sensei. The sensei I think was so. Whereas you have I'm not trying to say her name right, Masako. Whereas Masako is the one trying to encourage him to use whatever tactics he needs to win. And then you have the sensei, and you do one of those tactics, and he's like, I don't like what you're doing. And he makes no bones about how he does not like you acting that way. And he's telling you, this is not samurai.
That's right.
And so you will find throughout this game, you are going to run into conflict with many people that are your allies, because especially when you hold to a certain set of values and you see somebody who's supposed to uphold those same values doing things that you would consider dishonorable, yes, that's gonna tug at the core of your friendship. It's gonna tug at the core of your relationship with that person.
Well, like you said, the sensei, he has a student in this game that
Yes.
is
Oh God.
basically out
Yes.
to kill you. She's out to kill you. She's out to kill the sensei. She's working now for the Mongols. And here's the thing: as much as he tells you, Jin, what you're doing is dishonorable, he fell in love with his student, and he broke the code, and he taught her things he shouldn't have taught her because he fell in love with her. And she is now using those tactics against the island of Tsushima. She is now using those tactics to kill for the Mongols, all because he let his heart do the thinking instead of his mind.
Side note here. Sorry, I got caught up on Eris of Chaos. Ooh. Alfredo and breadsticks. That sounds good.
The breakfast of champions.
Absolutely. But yes, the storylines, your connection. I actually liked how the storyline with Yuna did not develop into a flat out full blown romance.
Yeah.
I was actually very happy that they didn't do that. Now, if they do that maybe later in say a sequel or something, that would be fine, but I'm glad they just left that out of it.
Well, Jin sees so many things from this perspective of this is the way samurais act because this is what he was taught by his father, by his uncle. And as he goes through the game and he meets new people, becomes reacquainted with old people that he's known in his life, he learns that things aren't as simple as he thought they were. His relationship with who I called Granny, which
Yes.
was and her relationship to his father after his mother died. It's all these little things that this is the wider world and this is the way the world works that he has to learn throughout the game from the people that that you interact with. I almost said he interacts with because it's his story, and you almost feel like you're watching his story unfold, even though you're playing him.
Yeah, to me, this is kind of like just a really fun interactive style movie. You're playing a character, and you do. I felt like, the more I'm watching this, I'll tell you what, the most heartbreaking thing, I thought there was two heartbreaking moments throughout that series where I had to stop. And that was my horse and Taka.
Yeah,
And I had to, after that, after the cutscenes and everything, I was like, I had to put the game down, go away, set myself aside for a little while before I came back to the game because, and I don't say this, but I'm an emotional guy. If I hear a song that makes me cry, I'm gonna cry. If I see a movie that makes me tear up, I'm gonna tear up, and I don't care. So when I'm watching this game and I'm invested in the story of these characters, and then something bad happens, you're kind of like it's gut wrenching.
yeah. And you mentioned the horse. The horse you get towards the beginning of the game, and you name the horse. And if anybody watched any of my streams when I was playing this live, I'm totally like, Kage, where are you at, horse? Kage. You name the horse, you pick the horse. Your horse is your main companion throughout the game, and you will catch yourself, like I said, Kage, where are you at, horse? And talking to the horse and petting the horse, and it's you have such a bond with this animal throughout the game, and that, like you said, there are things that happen that you just got to put it down, and you've got to be like, okay, that completely took. I did not see that coming.
Yeah, I named my horse Nobu, and yeah, y'all find myself being like, "Where the hell you at, Nobu? Come on,
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
go, let's get going." And you start to develop, and I would say this is something they did in this game that I don't think we got in The Witcher 3. You never get the impression that he's really that close to the horse in The Witcher 3 with Geralt, whereas in this game,
roach,
yeah,
roach.
Roach,
Mhm.
exactly. Whereas in this game, you really start as you're playing the game, and if you're invested in it and the story, and everything, you feel his bond, just the subtle things he says. You're a good boy, or for mine, it was you're a good boy, Naboo. And then he makes that comment where he says, "One day we'll go for a nice slow ride." And I actually during the cutscene with my horse, I'm like, I let him down. I actually the reason why I stopped the game is like I was like, I let him down.
Yeah,
And I got choked up by that. And I was like, I got that. That was the first time I was like, I got to put the game down for a little bit.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, we'll go for a nice slow ride, Kage, and or Nobu, Kage, Nobu, whatever you end up
Yeah,
naming your
whatever you
horse.
name them.
I had a
But
black horse, so of course I had to call it Shadow. That's what Kage is, his Shadow. So I had to name him Shadow because he was a black horse. But
I
yeah,
yeah,
you have a bond.
yeah, actually, folks, too. You get to choose between a certain set of horses, and then you get to pick your name for the horse based on a certain list. I went with Nobu, which meant trust.
Yeah.
and I went with a brown horse. For some reason, I always find brown horses to be the most beautiful type of horses. And you do form bonds in this game. You don't just form it with that. You form bonds with all these characters that you interact with. Everything from your uncle to the that two-faced merchant we're somehow always trying to save his butt.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like literally the comic relief.
He is.
And he's always getting himself into trouble. And you know, every now and again I was like, why am I helping this guy?
Yeah, why am I helping this guy? But he's a good guy. He is out for himself a lot, but he's a good guy. In the end, he's a good guy.
Yeah, at the end he's kind of oh, another thing with these characters, depending on, and that's another reason why I think the side stories were so much fun to do, is the characters develop, they interact, and their personality gets very fleshed out. No character that you interact with that has any storyline to them is one dimensional in any way, shape, or form.
No, and
Not even.
the women are strong. The
Oh
women are
yes,
strong. They're not pushovers, and it's completely different. There is no what's the word for it? We talk about all the time. There is no shilling for the ladies in this. They
mm-mm.
prove they're badasses. There is we're not sitting here saying, "Oh, great, strong female characters." Yay, no. The women earn it. The
The
women very
women are.
much earn it.
Oh, absolutely, and the women are all strong for different reasons.
Yeah.
Yuna is strong uh, for her compassion and her determination and kind of like her heart and trust in Jin. Masako, she's got a determination. She is strong because she has a single focus and she knows what her goal is. And
And
then the grandma,
yeah,
Granny,
Granny is losing her mind, yet you're like, this is a woman that has kicked ass for all these years. She is strong inside. She is very strong inside. It's not just, oh, well, this Granny kicks ass. It's Granny has been through the ringer. Granny has dealt with all kinds of shit. Now Granny's losing her mind, and you feel so bad for her because you see this wonderful, fleshed out female character, and it hits you. It hits you in the feels watching what's happening to her and knowing that secretly for all these years she had a relationship with your father after your mother died. After your mother died.
this game, Purple Valkyrie, this game treats female characters with respect. Yes, yes.
Yes.
Purple Valkyrie, yes. There is no I
Pandering.
am woman, hear me war shit. You don't need that. These characters are strong on their own, and they all have layers and they all have different strengths. But they also the biggest thing too is nobody is uh nobody is one dimensional. Everybody's got flaws. Everybody's got weakness. Personally, the character that I felt the most pain for was Masako.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean her and the sensei because of Masako, for example, loses everything.
Yeah.
It's
She loses
tragic,
her entire family to the Mongols and to assassination.
and then she, finds out she was betrayed, and
Yep.
it's a complete. You can say we have three betrayals in this game. Ruzo, um, Masako's, the when you find out about what's going on with Masako, and then of course Sensei's
Student.
student. Thank you. But the thing is all even though you say, oh, well, there's three betrayals, they're all completely different stories.
Yeah. And with Masako, there's a okay, at the very beginning of this game, guys, there's a beautiful battle. You will get charged up for honor, for glory. You go and meet the Mongols on the beach and you're riding on horseback into the jaws of hell. You feel like what Bashir and O'Brien are talking about on DS9 when they talk boldly they rode into the mouth of death. That's what you do at the beginning of this game. And there's a scene with her where you go back to that beach and you are looking for the bodies of her sons.
Oh yeah.
And it's heartbreaking.
This game does not pull any punches in its story at all. And then you have the interaction between Jin and his uncle. And this evolves so much through the story because um the Khan is telling him what the ghost is doing, and of course, he doesn't want to believe it
That's right.
because it goes against everything he's trained him. And then, you get these flashbacks of them together as young, and they are not cheap flashbacks. They add weight and gravity to the strength of these characters.
Yeah, Jin is being taught the meaning of honor and combat and swordplay and what it all means to be a samurai. And over time, he goes against those teachings because he is fighting for his country. He is fighting for the island of Tsushima. He's fighting for the daimyos of Japan. He is fighting to keep the Mongols out of Japan. And sometimes you have to do things that you aren't proud of. Again, to bring up Star Trek, kind of like Cisco in the Pale Moonlight. So I cheated. I lied. I covered up the murders of men. And that's the lesson it's teaching you.
Well, it's like I said when I even talked to it, and that's a great point to bring up, is Jen has to learn how to can he live with this? And
Yeah.
you don't know if he's going to be able to live with it until you get and there's a really great interaction between there's great interactions between the uncle and the nephew. And it's heartbreaking. It's so hard. It's such a heartbreaking game, but it's heartbreaking because it's just beautiful storytelling, beautiful character interaction. Yes, it's got great action. We all want a game that has great action, but we want a game that has story that just pulls us in and makes us want to keep playing the game. And then the final thing I was going to say about it is there's just that, like I said, when it comes to storyline, it's like that scene with the uncle and the ghost, and he's like, "You have no honor," and then he just immediately goes, "And you're a slave to it."
Yeah.
And I'm like, there is so much weight and there's so much information that you could tear apart between those simple words between the two. They actually, when you get to that point, it really just kind of lays everything out on the table.
When do you take something like that so seriously that you basically fight with your hands tied behind your back? How can you defend your country and stop an invasion with your hands tied behind your back? And that's what's going through his mind. That's what's going through Jin's mind is I can't have my hands tied behind my back at this. And that's why he says that to his uncle. He has to have free reign to do whatever it takes to drive the Mongols out, and his uncle won't see it.
And it all comes to a head, and choices are made. And it's like I said. Oh, by the way, Darth Monkey, great to see you. Thank you for coming in, folks. Yeah, this game, like I said, I don't do games usually very often, but this game I just felt was just too good not to talk about. As a non-gamer, this is a game that I wanted to talk about. And it's just I have not there's very few games I've ever played in my entire life that have this kind of that has made me emotional while playing a game. I mean, it really just if you get into it, it's going to pull you, it's going to suck you in.
Yeah, it's going to suck you in, and it's not going to let you go until the very end. It embraces you, it encourages you, and it does that until the very, very end of the game. You don't want to stop playing. That was the hardest thing for me. I did a lot of the side missions and a lot of the exploration in my free time. I did not do that while I was live. And that's because it probably would have taken me 3 or 4 months to do all that live in a couple of hour segments.
Oh yeah, definitely. But you have something I wanted to mention too before the final thing. I actually am contemplating learning how to write haiku because I actually was enjoying those little side things. I was actually quite enjoying them.
Oh yeah, and just off the top of my head, thunder from the mountain, rain in the grass, the sky has opened. It's those little things that you get to do in the choices. It's not just him sitting down and writing a haiku. You choose how it goes, and you're going to get a reward no matter what you do. But the reward cease to be the point. I've got 1,000,000 headbands. I don't need another headband. I want to do the haiku. I want to do the haiku for the haiku's sake because I want to see what options I'm going to have, and I want to do it. I want to pick my options, and he reads it out afterwards, and it's beautiful. It's one of those beautiful little things they put in the game. You don't even give a shit about the headbands at the end of the day. You just want to do the haiku.
It's funny you mentioned that, Loki. I 100% agree with that. I found myself being like, if I was having a point where I was kind of getting ticked off, or something really bad happened, I would either go find a haiku spot or go back to an old one
Yeah.
just to maybe write something a little bit different. And it was actually, and this is why I said I'm contemplating learning how to try to write haiku, even though it's way outside of my comfort zone, because I found doing it in the game very relaxing.
Yes. It is extremely relaxing and a good way to wind down after something big happens.
Yeah, hands down. Okay, folks, we're going to wrap it up because Stone Loki has a party to get to very soon, and I am going to be going over there myself. My final thoughts is going to basically be I'm going to treat this like a conclusion, and a conclusion to me is like in writing. I'm going to go back to the intro. The game has weight. The story is great. The graphics great. The gameplay is just fantastic the more you play. But I've got to be honest, the storytelling, the emotions, the weight of it, and like I said, even the small parts where you do relaxing. I mean, who thought they'd actually play a video game to do something that was relaxing in the game that actually made you relaxed? And yes, I agree. This game is 10 out of 10. There's no woke crap. Everybody is beautifully done. Everybody has their strengths, everybody has their flaws. You have heroes and villains that are just they have some weight to them. Yes, you've got your one-dimensional bad guys. We all deal with them. But the characters you do interact with are just fantastic. And with that, Loki, give your final thoughts and plug anything you got going on coming up.
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 for the game. Great storytelling, great style, great visuals, great mechanics, great music. Let me tell you something. I've got the soundtrack for this game, and I've got a LP. I've got a vinyl coming my way, and it's white.
Oh,
The vinyl
nice.
is white. So I love it when you get, vinyls like that are different colors. And this one is absolutely beautiful. I cannot wait to get it. 10 out of 10. It's a wonderful game. I will be doing a second playthrough at some point. When I actually have time, I am going to start over and play from the very beginning and do things differently. It's a game that has that weight that you want to play through it a second time. And
Thank
thank
you,
you,
Purple
Purple.
Valkyrie. I appreciate those kind words. And you had a great stream as well, by the way, earlier. Would be remiss if you didn't catch that, folks, which I'm pretty sure looks like most of you probably here did. Go back and rewatch it. And, if you're not subscribed to the Valkyries or you're not subscribed to Loki, which I'm pretty sure everybody here is. Yeah, definitely everybody here is. But, guys, this was great. Stone Loki, I know you got Loki's Morning of Mischief coming up next week, Monday through Friday, pretty much. Do you have any other shows coming up this weekend or any guest
Yeah,
appearances you're going to be doing?
I'm going to be guesting on Eris of Chaos's channel later today. We are going to be talking about movies from the DC animated universe. 3 movies in particular. Batman, Superman, Public Enemy, Batman, Superman, Apocalypse, and Batman Ninja, which is an awesome movie. If you guys haven't seen Batman Ninja, the ending is completely whack, but
I have actually seen it.
so we're going to be talking about that later today.
I've seen actually all three of those. Those are freaking awesome.
Yes.
It's like, you know, I feel bad for the DC universe. They can make a killer anime, but they can't get their movies out of their ass.
No, they can't.
And folks, for me, I'm going to be starting back up. Oh, Loki, what time are you and what time are you going to be on Eris of Chaos' stream?
2 p.m. today.
2 p.m. Central?
2 p.m. Central, yes. 2 p.m.
All right,
Central.
folks. If you haven't been to Eris of Chaos' channel either, I have been there. I have guested with her, and she's been on my shows, and I hope she continues to come on. She is a fantastic lady. Everybody here is fantastic. This community is one of the greatest I have had the privilege to be a part of. As far as I'm concerned, it's probably about the only good thing that came out of 2020, in my opinion.
Yeah.
In the chat, though, Purple Valkyrie, Dark Monkey, Eris of Chaos, Colin Smith, Mexican Iron Man in his iron thong. It puts the iron thong on its skin or it gets the hose again. Project Storytime, thank you all so much for coming in. Adega Outlaw, I look forward to seeing Psycho Dwarf 9. I look forward to seeing you all in a few minutes over, for those of us who are going to be heading over to Loki's little party here. Monday, I will be starting back up my Mondays Tin Forge streams. We are going to go back to continuing the MCU. We are going to be talking Captain America, the First Avenger. And then probably that Friday, I'm going to pull my Quarks bar and catch up on the latest 2 episodes of Star Trek Lower Decks.
Can I answer Colin P. Smith real quick?
Yeah, sure. Where's it at?
It's at the bottom.
Yeah, got it.
Those are Batman, Superman, Public Enemy, Batman, Superman, Apocalypse, and Batman Ninja.
And they're all pretty good.
Yes.
Well, actually, doesn't Public Enemy and Apocalypse both have Kevin Conroy and
Tim Daly? Yes.
Tim Daly, thank you.
Yes, and those are continuations of the Justice League animated series. Those are direct continuations after the Justice League animated series ended.
Yeah, they are very good. They are a lot of fun. All right, folks, I'm gonna try out this new outro today. Hopefully I hope you all enjoy it. You have a good one, and as always, peace and long life. Live long and prosper.
Later, everybody.
Later.